I have had a pattern of saying thank you, God, when I first started on the page, and
Mm-hmm.
then I would write, and I would say, I da 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 da, um, and I noticed that that changed after a while. I wasn't saying thank you, God, at the beginning of the page. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what that was all about. Why did I stop doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and things you had forgotten about, and because maybe they weren't really that important. And
Okay.
you go back and you're able to just get a sense of how you're doing, seeing if you were over, we were maybe I was exaggerating on this page, or
Oh,
maybe
right.
maybe something this doesn't make me sad anymore, or ooh, I didn't realize how that affected me. So you see that you become observant,
Mm-hmm.
you become you reflect on how things may have changed. You get you kind of rate yourself, not judging yourself, but kind
Uh-huh.
of saying where you are. Maybe you might even disagree with something that you said, or
Okay.
oh, I've learned better now. you know
Okay.
yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to Unapologetically 50 Plus. So today I have Miss Kathy Hampton with me. She is the founder of Wellside Retreat, where she helps women, especially Black women over 50, rediscover purpose and joy through journaling, rest, and self-reflection. So Kathy inspires women to write new chapters for their lives and reconnect with themselves. So thank you, Kathy, for joining me. This is your second time on, so thank you so much for coming back and having this discussion with me about journaling, because I've seen your YouTube channel. I really enjoy your journaling and just the way you go about getting us to just really reflect and think about the importance of journaling. So, other than your journaling, what tell folks a little bit about you, about where you're living?
Sure, sure. So yeah, I'm currently living in Porto, Portugal, and I've been here for 11 months. Time's gone by really fast. I think the planning makes it seem like I've been here even longer than that. I took probably it was 2 years before I actually came here, decluttered, had to take care of a lot of business before making my way here. So it seems like I've been here for 3 years, but it's only been 11 months, and I'm enjoying it. I had a plan of what I wanted to do when I got here, and I'm doing that, and that is to write as an author, to publish books, and to hopefully sell them once I do get them published. That is something I'm learning all about the world of uh, writing literature, as opposed to the technical writing that I've done before, and that was
Yeah.
in the I guess the guise of legal research,
Oh, okay.
as a research analyst, a law librarian, where I had to write responses to questions that attorneys had, and provide them information.
Okay.
So I'm learning that, and I'm no longer because I'm not writing factual based information, except for the fact that I'm writing a memoir, which is factual based, and short stories that are memoirs. And I write in my journals most every day. Actually, today I did not because I was busy, but I will be doing that uh,
And
before the day is out.
so you do write daily. You journal
I
daily.
do. I
Wow.
do.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So, and you said you were writing a memoir. Can you tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about that?
Yeah, so the memoir actually began through my writing of journals. Um, the what I was writing about was it started back in 2012 that I decided I needed to get something off my chest.
Mm,
And I just grabbed I grabbed journals at a store that were pretty. And I said, I'm going to use these because I could really I could write all that's on my mind
yeah.
down. And what I was writing about at that time was the fact that I had not communicated my thoughts and feelings about my sister who had experienced a mental health crisis
Mm,
and how my family was dealing with it and how much I was learning about the crisis or mental illness in particular and how I was doing research on my own about mental illness. And that's what the memoir is. It's basically me writing about mental health and how it affected me. Not necessarily my sister, but
mm,
about how I dealt with it and how our family has dealt with that and what it all means. And yeah, through this process, there were a lot of things that were uncovered through my journaling
mhm.
because I started questioning things
Okay.
like why is she experiencing this? And then I would learn later on as I would journal things would come up and in the family that we would unearth a lot of things. And
Yeah.
then there was a lot of stuff. So I became very interested in mental health and becoming actually a mental health, what I call a mental health advocate, someone who actually received training to be able to discern when someone was having a mental health crisis.
Oh,
So through journaling, um, you haven't even asked me the question, but I'm
go right ahead. No, go right ahead.
through journaling, I was able to really start to become aware of things that were going on that I actually hadn't focused on.
Mm,
So I was writing about my feelings. I was writing about events that had happened. I was writing about what I needed to do to, as an empathic person, I didn't know that was what I am and really was back then. How I could help, what
okay.
I could do, how could I um, understand more about my sister's illness.
Okay.
Um, and is there something more that we could be doing as a family um, to help
Yeah. Okay.
and learn about? Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's an interesting take on it. And I didn't
Mhm.
realize that. I mean, we've talked, a couple of times, we've communicated back and forth, but that really puts a lot of things into perspective, especially when it comes to, you know, the reason why you started journaling. And then even with
Mhm.
this book, because there's things that you had to get out. And a lot of us, we don't realize how therapeutic writing is just in
Mhm.
general when we have things that need to come out and we might not necessarily want to vocalize it, but we need to get it out, and journaling is an amazing way of doing that.
Mhm.
So, and you kind of touched upon this, but what makes journaling such a powerful tool for women, especially in midlife?
Sure. Well, yeah. So I was in my 40s when I started really journaling. I had I had diaries and stuff when I was younger.
Mhm.
But the it's really significant because it's a tool. A lot of I'm going to say that a lot of women in midlife, and I am now 62, and I know that a lot of my peers, Black women, midlife, hold a lot of things in, and it's a social thing.
Right,
It has to do with how we were raised, that you don't share, you know, your dirty laundry, or you keep stuff in the closet.
right,
And what that does, it doesn't allow us to be vulnerable, and it doesn't allow us to ask questions. Not from anyone, ask questions of anyone, or even us thinking to ourselves, let me not think about that. We shut
mhm,
things in, we stuff a lot of stuff things in. And so journaling is a powerful tool for this age group, 50 and over, midlife, because it allows one to go to a source that is close to them and be able to um, really express themselves. And hopefully, they will look over the journal uh,
mhm.
and read it, after, say, a week or month, maybe, maybe a year,
Yeah,
uh, you know, but when that information is flowing, and I really encourage people to journal by writing, because there's a connection between the mind, the physical connection between the mind and the action, the tangible um, action, feeling the paper and turning the page, and
right.
and seeing the words kind of develop on the page. um and it's surprising that rhythm is very soothing and comforting, and you're able to free flow, and that is an important part about it.
Mhm.
um is that you're not writing an essay. It's
Right.
not formal. It is yours. These are your words. You can cross things out. You can scribble. Some people even find that doodling and creating a picture
Mhm.
of what's on their mind is helpful. Hence the art journaling is very popular,
Okay.
because if you have something in your mind that you may not be able to express with words, you can always color or draw, or even if you think you cannot draw,
No, sorry.
whatever. Yeah. I
Sorry about that,
can't
y'all.
draw.
Back the dogs in the background.
Well, I didn't even hear the dog.
Okay, they sound so loud to me.
Okay. Uh-uh.
So you mentioned something about going back and reading it. What is the benefit of going back and reading what you've written?
There are a couple of reasons. One is you go back to read to see if there have been any changes
Mm,
to it's almost like a historical document, right?
okay.
So you go back and you say, I wrote this on back when. You don't have to date it, but I wrote it some time ago,
Hmm.
and things have changed, or I'm still right here. Things
Okay.
haven't changed, or you see a pattern in how you express yourself.
Hmm.
Um, I have had a pattern of saying, "Thank you, God," when I first started on the page, and
Hmm.
then I would write, and I would say, I da 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 da, um, um, and I noticed that that changed after a while. I wasn't saying thank you, God, at the beginning of the page. Well,
Mm.
I wonder what that was all about. Why did I stop doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and things you had forgotten about, and
Okay.
because they weren't really that important, and you
Okay.
go back and you're able to just get a sense of how you're doing, seeing if you were over we were maybe I was exaggerating on this page, or
Oh,
maybe
right.
maybe something, this doesn't make me sad anymore, or ooh, I didn't realize how that affected me. You see that you become observant,
Mm-hmm.
you become you reflect on how things may have changed. You get you kind of rate yourself, not judging yourself, but kind
Uh-huh.
of saying where you are. Maybe you might even disagree with something that you said, or
Okay.
oh, I've learned better now, you know
Okay.
yeah.
So, how can journaling help women reconnect with who they are now and what they want to become?
Mm. Well, yeah. So journaling, you can use a journal for just about anything, including making a to-do list,
Oh,
or writing about what you want to do, what you want to accomplish. And I have a journal that in it, I actually put a box and wrote, a goal that I wanted to achieve. And there were probably, I think, 10 different things of desires that I had. And
okay.
I would go back and I would check them off if I had done them. Now, I can tell you that all but two
Hmm.
are left um, to for me to do. And
Hmm.
I will say that one has to be maintaining financial sustainability um, for the rest of my life. And that's probably never going to be checked off because
Right.
that will continue. The
Right.
other, the other is finding companionship.
Okay.
And that was something that I added back in 2019. I added that to that list to make it 12 different things. So those
Okay.
two are the only things that are, and that lets me know that it is the to-do list or the boxes checked for the desires that I wanted or things that I manifested for myself,
Okay.
to let me know that I was moving through these things. But so it can show growth.
Hmm.
It can show that you've learned something new and
Hmm.
different. Um, and when you can do anything in a journal, you can write down your savings. I saved, this
Right.
quarter. I put this money in an account, and I've made these changes to my portfolio, or I decided I wasn't going to spend so much on going out to dinner, or I'm not going to purchase any new clothes or shoes
Right.
until certain. And so you can do all kinds of things with how you either move ahead, or whether or not you're on target for yourself. And it's only for yourself. You aren't,
Right.
it's not for anyone else that you are making these changes.
Do you
Uh,
do you look at journaling as a part? Heard you say something about manifestation. Do you look at journaling as a part of the manifestation process for yourself, or can it be a process for, folks who are into or believe in the manifestation?
sure. Yeah. Yes, I do. And I I took a little workshop on manifestation, and it wasn't so much that I was thinking about journaling about it, but it
Mm,
within the workshop, the instructor said, write out, you know, these things that what you want to manifest. Pick one. Um, write down how you are going to do the thing that you want to manifest, because manifestation is an action that
right,
you actually take, right?
right,
So you have to do it in order to be it.
right.
And so at this time, it was 2019 that I started talking about companionship. It was soon after I had separated from my then husband. And I was saying, well, it was kind of a rebound, but I was like, I want to manifest, a companion. And
Hmm.
so um, this is what you have to do. And the workshop was like, okay, you write what you will do if you want to manifest, say, a partner. Well, you have to learn how to flirt. So you have to be able to flirt. You have to you have to, look at someone in the eye when speaking to them, not
Mm,
being coy and, you
right.
know, you have to, if you want it, you have to be it, you have to do it. And so I would write these steps down
Okay.
and you write them again and again and again.
Okay.
Last October, a woman asked me, was so happy to tell me about a relationship that she had. And she was really happy about it. And I was like, well, how'd you do that? And then how'd and she says, I manifested that. I said, really? I said, well, how did you manifest? She said, I got my journal and I wrote down what I was going to do. And she said, that's how it works. Because I had stopped manifesting that.
Oh, okay.
But she had manifested, she used her journal to do that, writing out the steps over and over and over. Yeah. So, yeah,
Okay.
it is a part. It can be.
It can be. And
Mhm.
like everything, what I'm hearing you say is like everything that we do, it has to be consistent. It's not
Yeah.
going to happen. You're not going to be able to write it down one time and it's going to happen. You have to take, and part of manifesting and part of journaling and everything is taking those steps towards what you want. It's not going to
Yeah.
just happen because you think about it. It takes intention and it takes consistency.
Correct. Absolutely. And I'm big on the word practice. You
Mm,
have to practice.
yeah.
In fact, I'm working on um, a project and well, on my YouTube channel, I talk about wellness and healing practices
Hmm.
because the things that we do, if we want them to happen, if we want change and transformation in our lives, we do have to practice these things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a pattern of
Right.
consistency. Yeah.
Right. Right. Exactly. So, have you seen this sense of purpose when we're talking about how can journaling help women reconnect with who they are now? Have you seen a sense of purpose shift in surprising ways for women through this process? And whether it's through your YouTube channel or through just working with women in general.
Yeah, I do coach women, um, and one of I started coaching during the pandemic,
Hmm.
and uh, I had women who we would get together and we would journal.
Hmm.
We had journaling sessions, and one woman took my session one time, and then a couple years ago, decided she wanted to do another session. And then she said, "You know what? I think I want to coach with you. I want you to coach with me." And I didn't know at the time what for. There were personal things, and then there were professional things that she wanted coaching on.
Hmm.
And I asked her, I said, well, why did you want to come back and get coaching? She says, well, I've been journaling since we you started journaling sessions, and your journaling sessions um helped me start something that I really wanted to do and had gained the courage by journaling. And that was she learned how to swim.
Wow. Okay.
And I was like, and that was what she was doing. She was practicing swimming. She learned how to swim
Uh,
and then kept on journaling and kept on swimming.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And then I've helped people with I never say I help them because people help themselves when they come to coach with me.
You inspire
Um,
them?
I inspire them. Right. I hold them accountable.
Right.
Um, so I've helped women with caregiving
Okay.
because a lot of us in this midlife are caregivers to our parents,
Right.
to nieces, nephews, cousins,
Right.
to
Right.
friends, and through writing out plans of action, how caregiving makes people feel,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm.
and how they were going to help themselves through helping other people and paying attention to themselves. And people have decided that they were going to ask for assistance, um, and
Okay.
write down a plan of action for the families and not just for themselves to care and give.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that helps people say, hey, I need some help. I can't do this all by myself. It's self-care.
Right.
So I will say that um, that's how it's changed people's perspective of who they are and what they should and should not be doing to protect themselves. Yeah.
Okay. So, for
Mhm.
someone who hasn't journaled in years or maybe never,
Mhm.
where do you suggest they begin?
With anything, any practice, you need to start off, first of all, just starting off with small steps. And just as you would if you were a person who meditates
Hmm.
or prays or does yoga or just starts anything new, you start off where you are, and that could be 5 minutes a day, writing something for 5 minutes a day.
Hmm.
Um, uh, and then increasing that. And just to see if this is something that sits well with you.
Right.
Because sometimes there are people who don't like writing,
Hmm.
like the physical act of writing. I
Right.
have a
Right.
friend who says, "Oh, I can't write. I need to type." And
Mm.
that's strange to me.
Right.
But some people don't want a pen or paper. They
Mm.
want to type. They want to get on the computer. So
Mm.
just baby steps. And then if it's something that you do want to do continuously, instead of free flow writing, they call it free flow because you just spit out, what's on your mind or your heart, your spirit.
Hmm.
There are journals that are written where there are prompts. And
Oh.
if you want to write with a prompt
Hmm.
that makes you feel better, then
Hmm.
that's what you do. In fact, I found see, where is it? Oh, here's one. I actually found a journal with prompts that I really like because I don't like a lot of prompted journals,
Okay.
but this one is called the Ask Journal,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and it has it has you writing what your intentions are for the day, what are you grateful for
Mm.
the day, It has a free flow section. It
Okay.
has journaling for the evening because a lot of people journal in the morning, but then it has, a section for evening.
Okay.
Then it asks you a question.
Mm.
Then it has a rating for the day, 1 through 5. How are you
Okay.
today?
Oh,
And you
okay.
circle that. So something that moves you along
Right.
daily
Yeah.
could be how you could start.
Okay. I also think another good way to start is what is your why? Why are you journaling? Because
Hmm.
sometimes that keeps you journaling just like with anything. What is your why? Why do
Yes.
why do you want to move out of the country? Why do you want to start a business? What is your why? And I think you probably could take that in context with journaling. Why are you journaling?
Oh, sure. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, that's, for people who set up a call with me to consider coaching,
Hmm.
the question I asked them is why, what is your why for being coached?
Right.
So, that could be something that you journal about. And every
Mm.
day, why am I writing this today?
Yeah.
What is it that I am gonna get from this? What are
Right.
my intentions for today's journaling?
Right. And there's no
Yeah.
right or wrong answer. And I think that's another thing that we
Mhm.
fear is like, well, because no one's going to read this. I mean,
That's
the
right.
journaling is for you, so no one's going to read it. So it doesn't have to
Mhm.
be perfect. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. It just has to be, what are you getting out of this? And how is
That's
it
right.
making you feel better? Because ultimately, isn't that what it's about? You feeling better,
Yeah.
you growing, you moving forward.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, growth is a big key. Is key to it. Growth. Yeah. How are you feeling? What are your emotions at this stage and
Yeah.
in this season? Because every day there's change. Every hour.
Right, right,
There's
right.
something changing,
Something's
and
changing.
and what did you experience today,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, are there any
Mhm.
common mistakes that you encourage beginners to avoid when they start their journaling journey?
Um, Not to think about it so much, not to
Mm,
overthink, not like having a pretext like, oh, I have to journal about um, you know,
just let it flow, basically.
yeah, just let it flow.
Mm,
Just and dream write about a dream. Write about a
mm,
dream you might have had.
mm-hmm, mm,
Write about what you want to do for the weekend,
okay.
you know. Not make it so or what's on top of mind, write it down.
Yeah.
Like we wake up a lot of times with stuff on our minds,
Yes. Yes.
right? We do. We wake up with, I know I did this morning. I
Yeah.
woke up and I was thinking, oh, I gotta do this, this is um
Do you
and
find, I'm sorry, do you find for you personally, when you wake up with a lot of stuff on your mind and you're
mhm.
able to journal, if it's even, if you're able to journal, do you feel that once you've journaled and dumped that information out, that there's more of a sense of the weight being lifted?
Oh yeah. Oh, most definitely. In fact, when I started journaling, in fact, I was interviewed by another woman about journaling. Um, when I started journaling, I was going through um, issues with toxicity on the job,
Mm,
as well as the family issues that I was having with my sister, and I was seeking therapy,
okay.
and it was difficult to find a therapist. And I was so angry because I was having difficulty finding someone, or they. we couldn't come together and make a schedule of days, they weren't available. I did find one person, and I say that she fired me. She fired me as a client. I had 6 meetings, and I
Oh,
guess I unloaded so much stuff that she says, "Well, I think that we are done. We don't, I do not have any more time available this time in your
wow.
schedules." And so she kind of fired me. And so I say she fired me. And what she was, I don't think that she was able to deal with my issues. And
Oh,
it was the strangest feeling. I was like, she was dismissing me,
yeah, yeah.
and made me feel. And so I wrote about how this therapist made me feel. And I call it screaming in my journal.
Okay,
I screamed into the journal.
okay.
And then I said, you know what? I'm going to help myself. And that's when I continued to journal.
Mm,
It
okay.
was my therapy.
Your therapy. Okay, okay.
Since I couldn't find a therapist
Right,
that I liked and I didn't know if I would,
right.
I decided that that's what I was going to do.
Okay.
And then got a lot of self-help books to go along with it.
Yeah. Okay. So what transformations have you witnessed? And maybe you just said it
Yeah,
through the act of putting pen to paper.
yeah, a
In
lot.
your own personal or, ladies that you've helped.
Yeah, so there was with the people that I helped, the swimming, gaining courage to
Hmm.
do things. For myself, gaining courage to um, to travel solo to places
Yes.
I never would
To
have
moving
done,
solo.
to moving solo, to taking a leap and um, what I say is moving away from what is no longer serving me. When you
Mm,
keep on doing the same thing and doing the same thing over and over and again, and it's not giving you the results that are needed or harming, or there's still harm to
right,
you, then some people call that being a little crazy. I don't like to say that,
right.
but um, I had to make a decision to make life changes in order to become the better me. And I've seen that with other people.
Yeah.
I've seen other people, go through life for long periods of time and stay stuck,
Stay stuck.
stay in the same pattern. And no, they're not crazy. A lot of the time, they are fearful. They're doubting themselves.
Right.
They're they are yeah, those are the things that keep you. Their
Or
procrastination, they
right.
procrastinate, they don't move, and usually that's fear-based, or
Mm-hmm.
they think that they're good enough.
Right.
So yeah, those are the things. So when you see movement, and you see change, that's the goal. Transformative change. You're transforming. You are truly a caterpillar and you become a butterfly and
Right.
yeah,
Spread your
yeah.
wings.
You
So
spread your,
was journaling a part of helping you move to Portugal? Because that's a big step. That's a big step. You said transforming your own life. Was that a part of, or did that help you?
I, yeah, I will say that that was one component of it, but it was also doing the work, doing the research.
Right.
Like if I want to travel solo, I have to think, well, where do I want to go and what do I want to do? And I write that down, maybe, and yeah, I did. And then I go online and then I do the research.
Right.
I take the steps to move toward it. And then really what was journaled was, I'm so glad that I did this. This makes me feel so good that I'm going to
Okay.
do it. I can't believe that have booked a place. I don't know what it's going to look like. I can't really tell the neighborhood. I
Right.
hope I have, all the things that I need. I hope I don't get sick. I
Right.
did buy, so that was in the journal, something
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
But to actually do it, to do the stuff, to get
Okay.
there was a different thing. I
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
hmm
So what are some unexpected benefits of journaling that you wish more women knew about?
Um, Unexpected benefits. I think that I don't sometimes I was someone let me know a person who I became an accountability partner with um and who started following my journal with me YouTube program um and she had not really journaled
Mm-hmm.
prior to I guess meeting me. And most recently, I've taken a break for this summer
Mm-hmm.
with Journal with Me, and I ask women who come on normally to have with a Zoom social,
Mm, okay.
and everyone shared, what they've gotten out of journaling. And one of the things that she said is she can't believe that she has written and filled up 3 journals
Wow.
since she started following me and we become really friends.
Mm-hmm.
I was blown away. 3 journals. I don't know how big they are or
Right.
whatever. 3 journals to me is a lot of journaling. If you're
Yeah.
good, if to me that's for someone who had not journaled
Right.
before.
Right.
And she has made transformational change in her life
Wow.
and since that time.
Wow.
So I say that that was unexpected for me
Yeah.
to even hear about. Yeah, some people, you know, I don't know. Some people need an, an activity that they say, you know what, I did that, and things are now
Yeah.
making a difference for me. It
And
could be journaling, it'd be taking a walk, could be
right.
any practice that has to do with being able to download what's on your heart, your mind, and your spirit.
Right. I think a lot of the benefits would be just what you're talking about. What we're really talking about is one, that transformation, but also being able to let whatever is weighing us down, let it go.
Yeah,
I mean, it
yeah,
might not disappear, but once you write it, put that pen to paper, and you're able to release that negative energy,
yeah.
then to me that's an amazing benefit
Mhm.
to the journaling, because a lot of us, instead of writing it down, will just hold on to it. We'll keep talking about it, and we'll keep reliving whatever was getting on our nerves or weighing us down or bringing that negative energy in our space. We'll keep talking about it. We'll keep reliving it, and then it never dissipates. It's always there. Whereas with
Yeah.
the journaling, you're really physically letting it go. And like you said, pen to paper is
hmm
there's an energy connection when you're putting pen to paper and you're just letting it come out, You
That's
just,
right.
yeah. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, I think, I really think those are some of the unexpected things. And opening up to new things. A lot of people,
Yeah.
um,
Especially
you know,
our age, it's hard to
yeah,
open up.
yeah. And I think that happens quite a bit
Yeah.
when you start practicing journaling, when you just open up to the possibilities of something new.
Yeah.
Tabitha Brown has a book about doing something new, and
Oh,
I haven't read that book, but I have done something new every day, quite often since I've moved here. But
yeah.
I say that out loud. You got to do something new today. What you gonna do? And I go find something new to do.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I explore.
Yeah.
I'm a big explorer. I'm nosy. And I'm nosy. I wanna know.
Yeah.
I peek over fences, I like this looks
There's
interesting.
your neighbors.
You
Oh,
know?
there's Kathy.
Yeah, there's this woman. Where is she from? No, I'm
No.
with some caution.
Right, right.
Uh, you know.
So if a woman feels stuck or unsure of what to write, how do you suggest she moves through that resistance?
Mm.
I mean, like, are there certain times of the day or environments that might help to get that person unstuck?
Yeah, what you have to what there are some, I say, you just start writing one step at a time. You take your time, 5 minutes. But another thing is you have to be comfortable in an environment in order to open up, right? You can't be, sitting watching television with, two children next to you and maybe your partner or spouse on the other side and say, let me get to journaling. No,
Right.
you need to close up in a quiet place, um, even if it's at a park, on a bench, in nature, with pen and paper. I commonly take a couple journals with me to a coffee shop because I can drown out the noise with my thoughts
And
writing
they
on
have
paper.
amazing coffee shops out in Portugal. So,
Yeah, yeah, you can find a coffee shop. I mean,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so you get comfortable. You might want to, breathe, just breathe, do a couple deep cleansing breaths before you get started. But
Mhm.
comfort is key.
Okay.
Allowing yourself to be comfortable in your space, even if it's, getting in the bed in the middle of the day, where you really feel relaxed.
Okay.
I think those are the things that you do. And I talk about that, come, get relaxed, put a candle on, get some tea, you
Right. Right.
know,
Whatever
uh,
relax your soul and your
whatever
Mhm.
relaxes you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Are there
Mhm.
certain life moments or seasons where journaling becomes especially important?
Mm, especially, I don't think so. I think it's important anytime, not especially. Um, Maybe unbeknownst to me, maybe it was really important that I take my mental health um, responsibilities. I take those. I took the responsibility for my mental health therapy. And decided to journal. I didn't know that it was going to be an especially important time to do so. I look
Okay.
back and I think, yeah, in fact, that was the key. It made me aware of how angry I was, how upset I was about a number of things,
Okay.
not just the therapist firing me, but 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 there was a lot going on. And so, but you have to be aware of your circumstances
Mm-hmm.
by quieting down, being still, in order for there to be a special time, for anything, whatever that is, whatever brings you to the place where you're going to make a difference, that you believe you're going to make a difference for yourself is
Okay.
the important time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So if journaling was a mirror, what might women begin to see in themselves through regular practices?
Mm. They'd learn about themselves. They'd start observing themselves, both internally and externally, being more, they'd ask themselves questions, the more they contemplate things more for themselves.
Okay.
That's the mirror. Um, they be able to look in the mirror, truly look in the mirror.
Mhm.
Um, they'd be able to go back and read because they wouldn't be afraid to see themselves on the
Okay.
pages.
I
Yeah.
like what you said when you said going back and reading your journals and
Mhm.
see where you were then and
Mhm.
where you've gone, or have you made any progress? And to me,
Mhm.
even if you haven't made the progress, you can then say, why haven't I made the progress? What do I need
Absolutely.
to do to make this change? What is keeping me in fear? When I wrote this 6 months ago, I was ready to do A, B, C, and D, and I have not moved forward. So why haven't I? So it also gives you a way to reflect on, maybe why I haven't moved forward, or why I'm still in fear of whatever it is. So I think
Mhm.
that that's another really impactful meaning behind journaling, just to see, have I moved forward? Because you don't want to stay stuck, especially at
Mhm.
our age. There's, people might think it's morbid to say, but you don't have as many years in front of you as you did behind, that you do as you
That's
do
right.
behind you. So you want to take every advantage. And if journaling helps you see, no, I haven't moved, I'm still stuck in this same spot that I was in 6 months ago, and I haven't made any changes, then you have
Mhm.
to really start asking yourself why, and are you serious about making those changes?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
I agree with that. I agree with that.
yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, I think that you really you have to want a lot of, uh, you will have to want to make a change, and then if you decide that you do want or have a desire to change whatever in your life, if it's not going for, there are a lot of people who says I'm just fine the way I am, I'm okay.
okay, yeah,
But if you if and but if you are saying there has to be more, or I
right,
don't like where I am right now,
right,
so what do? You do something, you try things,
right,
you
right,
experiment, you're right,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly. And also the journaling can help you, maybe help you see what those fears are if you're being honest while you're journaling. What are my fears? you know
Yeah.
and because sometimes we don't know what our fears are, we just know that we're afraid, but we don't know why,
Mhm.
or what's causing them. So maybe journaling, because you are digging deep into your soul, might, it might help you see what those
Hmm.
fears are, and how to get, possibly how to get over them.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Yeah. A lot of us, you mentioned, yeah, we aren't honest. A lot of people are not honest with themselves.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't, sometimes they don't know that they are. That's the thing about it. They don't know that they're not being honest with themselves. They're, yeah, they truly are not looking in the mirror.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
exactly. So, how can journaling serve it as an act of healing, particularly for Black women navigating midlife? And we kind of really touched upon a lot of it, the healing
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. This past year, I started talking about healing practices, and one of them being journaling. But
Hmm.
there are so many healing practices that a woman could do for herself. And I always mention on my YouTube channel that if you are not keen on journaling,
Mhm.
spend the time with us in community on the channel,
Mhm.
um, praying, meditating, doing yoga. If you're outside listening to this, YouTube channel,
Yeah.
this session, take a walk, do a walking meditation where you use your senses. Any of those
Mhm.
practices
Mhm.
um, to help you make a difference for yourself because we're all different. We all come with different um, we tolerate things differently. We can be exposed to things that we like or dislike. So we're all moving in moving in different directions trying to get to the same place. And I believe that is that is to a place of happiness, peace,
Mhm.
and I think joy. Um,
Exactly.
and I believe that, and love, truly love of self. And I think love is not talked about freely. People don't think about love, how all encompassing love is. Love is God. Love is, God within you. Love is you.
Right.
Love is um, just everything.
Right.
And so, if you can find that through some healing practice, because you have to do it a number of times before you
Right.
feel healed.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Like we said, consistency. That's the
consistent.
key.
Yeah,
That's the key.
yeah, yeah.
So, what's one unexpected or creative journaling exercise you love?
One of my favorites really is gratitude. What are you grateful for? And writing down what you're grateful for. You don't have to make a list. You can just a line or two, and then ask yourself why, you're grateful for this,
Okay.
or why are you grateful for something that you actually don't have or haven't experienced.
Okay.
Seeing that's one of my favorite. And what we do on my channel is write affirmations, and that is a good practice of congratulating ourselves, basically um, affirming by writing a powerful positive statement about ourselves, because a lot of us
Oh,
don't write happy things about ourselves or good things. We're very critical
oh,
of
that's a good
ourselves.
one.
And that one it's really challenging, actually.
I'm sure it
And,
is. I'm sitting there thinking
and-
myself, um, what would I
yeah,
be able to it? I can imagine that
come on.
yes.
Yeah, think
And we
about it.
don't do it enough. We don't give ourselves enough kudos, enough pats on the back.
Yeah,
We're
right.
always so critical
Yeah,
of even the
yeah,
smallest things, and it's interesting because if you ask your friend or you ask someone and they were like, really, I don't see that in you, or no, I
yeah,
think you're doing amazing. And
mhm,
you're right. We
yeah,
need to even write that down about ourselves, that how amazing we really are. We don't see
yeah.
that. We don't say it enough to ourselves.
Today, for the first time in a long time, I went out. I had to meet with someone and help them kind of navigate um, this place today. And I got in the elevator and I turned around. There's a mirror in the elevator, and I was like, "Oh, I like what you have on today." I hadn't done that, and I took a pictures of myself in the elevator. I felt like my daughter, like a young woman. But I liked how I looked, and I had my glasses on, my sunglasses on.
Yeah.
I said, "That's a nice outfit." And it's so plain. And what made it that way was I wore two necklaces instead of one.
Okay.
And I had some new sunglasses that were
Uh,
inexpensive, but I really liked how they looked on me. And I
Yeah.
went out and I walked differently. I noticed, see, this is what I'm talking about, noticing yourself, right?
Right.
Observation. I looked in the window walking down the street and I was walking differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, I like their outfit. I like how you put your hair up today.
That's yeah. We
Yeah.
need to notice that about ourselves more instead of
Yeah,
being so critical
very
over
critical.
things that other people probably don't even notice.
I know.
You've
Or
got
things you do, like, I couldn't find, I have two phones. I have my phone from the States and I have, like I say, my Portuguese phone.
right.
I could not find my Portuguese phone. I said, Kathy, why are you phone? And I talked to her, why can't you find your phone? Why, I'm hard on myself. You said you're going to put it, you're going to put it there. It's not
Yeah.
there. Where is it? It's,
But that makes a lot of sense. Give yourself some kudos in your journaling. And then you could go
yeah,
back in 6 months and say, you know what, when you're feeling down,
yeah.
and go back to what you wrote about yourself. And, that could make your day. That could change your whole day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, so it's the gratitude and the affirmations, a positive, powerful statement
Yeah,
about yourself every
exactly.
day.
Every day. Every,
That could be just the beginning of journaling.
yeah, exactly.
That's a challenge. And when you have gratitude,
Hmm.
it makes you feel so good.
It
It's
does.
really energetic. It
Yes,
makes you feel like because we tend to think we don't have enough,
of course.
whether it be material, whether it be, we're not smart enough, we don't have enough of
And
something.
especially as we get older, we know,
Especially,
there's always something like we don't have enough of because we're no longer,
yes,
yes.
yes,
We
yes,
all, yeah, we know.
yes, yes, yes.
Oh, that's amazing. So
So
tell
those,
folks how they can, you said you're on vacation right now for from the journaling online, but tell folks a little bit about your YouTube and how they can where they can find you. And I'll have it in
right.
the description as well.
Okay, yeah, so my YouTube channel is Kathy Hampton Wellness. And I have a Substack account.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, and you can find that under my name, Kathy Hampton. Wellness and Healing Practices is the website.
Healing practice.
And yeah, and I'll be back at the end of August with the journal sessions. I plan um, on also doing more videos, taped videos over the
Okay.
summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can find me on YouTube. Yeah,
Okay.
but you
Good.
can go to the YouTube channel and look at old ones.
Yeah. She has plenty of them.
Yeah,
She has plenty of
yeah,
them.
plenty of 'em, yeah.
So thank you, Kathy. This has been an amazing conversation. I truly, thoroughly enjoy, listening to you and your journaling, and it has inspired me. I'm not as good as I should be. I probably need to get a prompt journal, like you said,
Yeah,
to give me some,
yeah,
because my brain is all over the place. So I need something to focus on and questions that I can say, okay, these are the questions I need to answer, but
yeah.
I need to start with that. But yes, thank you again for coming on. And
Thank
for
you.
everybody else, please remember if you find any value or enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification. And also tell me, what's your relationship with journaling? If you journal, have you tried it or are you ready to start? Share your thoughts and comments or share your thoughts in the comments, and check out Kathy's YouTube channel, and look forward to her coming back in August with a new journaling
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
journaling videos.
Yeah, I'm actually reading a book. I know that's maybe too much, but I'm
Yeah.
reading this book called The Artist Way. And it's written by Julia Cameron, and
Okay.
it talks about people. There are people who journal using her method called morning pages.
Okay.
Maybe some people may have heard of that. I didn't really do morning pages. Morning pages are a stream of consciousness, free flow writing,
Uh-huh.
but it requires 3 pages for you to write
Oh,
each
wow.
day.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
3 pages. So it's a
That's a
more,
little intense. That's
so,
not for the faint
so
of heart.
so I'll be coming back talking more about kind of like up leveling
Oh,
journaling.
okay.
Because
Okay.
through reading other books and materials
Yeah.
about journaling. Yeah.
Amazing. All right, you guys. Thank you again so much for joining us. I'll see you again soon. Bye.